Hi, and here I am with a Natter That Matters with the beautiful Raj Rajani today. Hello, Raj.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm very good.
Good. I was very keen to have you come and have a Natter That Matters because I know that what you help people with really matters, and especially at this time. So tell everybody that's listening and watching what it is that you do.
Okay, so I'm a yoga therapist and I have a studio called Yoga Studios, which is currently obviously not open, but I've been taking all my classes online to really initially back in March, I was doing the classes for free just to really help people get through the difficult, and difficult times of COVID-19 lockdown. And since then, I've started to put on more classes and online, which I think a lot of people are doing.
They are. I think we have to, don't we, to keep in touch. And what are the classes? What kind of things can people come and do with you?
So on a Monday night, I have Monday night meditation. And then on I also do baby yoga, so that's on a Tuesday morning. I do prenatal yoga.
Nice.
I also do obviously yoga, hatha yoga, and a yang to yin yoga, which is a lovely but more dynamic type of yoga, whereas hatha yoga is a lot more sort of staying in poses for a bit longer. And then on a Friday morning, I do sun salutation, movement into meditation, and that's a lovely class as well. Gentle.
What time? That sounds lovely. I love a bit of sun salutation, especially now I live with a good garden.
Yeah, and it's a lovely gratitude to the sun, inviting the energy in, and then sort of meditating on a particular matter, really, on a particular thing that has called us from. Usually I use some chakra cards to pick out what might be benefiting the group, if you like, and that's at 9 o'clock on a Friday morning. It's only 45 minutes long.
Lovely. And so are they free, or how much do you pay for them? What are they?
So they're not free anymore, but they're not expensive at all. So I mean, effectively, you could just get 10 classes for £40. That's £4 a class.
Wow, that's really cost effective.
Yeah, you could choose any one of those classes. The prenatal and baby yoga are slightly different.
Okay.
Groups.
I don't need that one, so that one works for me. Well, certainly, I'll be amazed if I ever do, quite frankly, but at my age. But yeah, that sounds lovely.
It's really lovely though, because what I want to do is sort of start people young in the sort of parental style of drawing. I mean, we're drawing on yogic, always drawing on yogic inspiration, but using modern science as well to really embed some of these sort of issues, ideas that people have, and things like parental guilt, for instance, I was talking about today, how we kind of walk around with parental guilt, and how we can sort of, using breath work to try and kind of like dissipate that and let go of that.
Gosh, breath work is so powerful, and parental guilt, gosh, it's literally like you've been in my ether for the last few days, because one of my Thrive Tribe members has been doing, she did a breath workshop for 4 days, which has transformed her life. She said it's absolutely incredible. And also this morning on my Mindset for Business bootcamp, there was 2 of the ladies there that were talking about the guilt around wanting to be better parents. So this guilt that you're talking about is really, I mean, I don't have any children, so I don't understand it so much, but yeah, it really is we should have done more, should have been with them more or less, or a whole load of like having to do it right. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of that goes on. I mean, yeah. So how does that work then? How do you help people with that?
So, with parental guilt particularly.
Yeah.
Yes. So basically, I mean, for instance, today we talked about, a particular aspect of parental guilt, which is, working mums or being busy while, child is there. And the two babies were not, 9 months and 10 months old. And, it's kind of starts early, people go back to, one lady was going back to work for a day a week, she was feeling guilty. And what we talked about is actually we talked about this, first of all, to look at how realistic is that guilt? Is there a real reason to feel that guilt? If there is, then do something about it. if this is a habit or a constant thought process that you just say to yourself from past habit, or perhaps things that have happened to you, so you feel guilty about not introducing that in your life with your children, then you would simply start to look at that and ask yourself, what is this really?
Mm.
And the answer often comes, for yourself. And once it comes and you realize that this is not guilt that you need to hold, there's nothing you need to do about this, you can start to use a very deep breathing exercise, which I would do. So, the very basic breath exercise is very much close your eyes and breathe through the belly to the sides of the ribs, up towards the top of the chest. And then breathe out very slowly, imagining that guilt completely disappearing. So you're kind of breathing that guilt out.
I had to open my eyes halfway through. I thought there's no point in me leaving this interview. That sounds amazing. So like it's a different level of mindset, really. It's about releasing in a different way and perceiving in a different way. So that's from what I do anyway. That sounds lovely. Gosh, that sounds lovely. And I know that on Saturday, this Saturday, you're doing a meditation. I don't want to undervalue what I'm going to say. You describe it, it's probably easier. What is it?
So, I call it the meditation masterclass, not because it's for experts in this. It really is a class to start to master meditation for yourself. So it's for anyone from any walk of life that has some interest in meditation. There's at the moment there are a lot of things out there that say that it's meditation. There are a lot of apps that we can use for what we call meditation, but I just feel that there's a lot of stuff that we could be doing, and maybe to some extent, because it's all online and there's not a physical person to explain it behind all of that stuff, that you're maybe not getting the full understanding and of how to meditate, and then bring it into a habit. So, a lot of these other things are more like visualizations, so, it's very much amazing, absolutely useful for relaxation, and absolutely prior to meditating, there should be a kind of way of relaxing the nervous system, creating an energy field around you to actually get into a deeper meditation, which, you can do. So wherever you're at, you can always get deep, and we look at sort of looking at the consciousness and sort of rising from the unconscious or the subconscious up towards the consciousness of ourselves, and then higher up. And the thing is, it's very much it's a personal experience. So it's a self-study. And yes, lots and lots of thoughts come through. Everyone always asks me about that, oh, but I can't meditate. This is the standard question answer I get is, oh, I couldn't possibly meditate. I've got too many thoughts in my mind. And that's probably because, as previously people have talked about keeping your mind still. And I suppose that what I say is it's really about concentration, about focus. So once you start to focus on particular things, which we go through in the actual meditation, whether it's breath, whether it's a mantra, whether it's a picture, whether it's just looking out at the sky, whatever it is, once you start to focus on it, the thoughts can't be there. So they start to dissipate. They go and they come back, they go and they come back. And then there's little gaps, and the gaps get bigger. But it's a process. It's not something that's going to happen here and right now, right, I've sat down 2 minutes later, I've suddenly got a completely still mind. Of course not. It's taken me years, to get to that, to a certain level. And I still have thoughts in my head, and I have to, re-engage with myself. So, it doesn't matter if you have a million thoughts. In fact, if you do have a million thoughts, you're the person that needs to come to
That's what they say. If you haven't got time to meditate some more, yeah.
Exactly, that, yeah. Right.
Because one of my friends once called it levitate, which I know is a very different thing. So how did you learn to do this? How did you get into this? How have you come about into where you are?
Yeah, so through my yoga training initially, and actually, but to be honest, the yoga training probably embedded it for me. But prior to that, you know, my tradition, if you like, you know, from a very young age, we were taught to meditate using mantras, or I should say mantras. You should meditate using mantras. And when I was younger, I didn't really get it. There was no explanation. Now, the thing is, today we have the science behind it. We have so much support that, you know, when you bring understanding and feeling together, it's so much more powerful.
Yeah.
So, as you know.
Yeah, I literally just had this conversation with my last client, actually. People need to understand why and what before they can allow something new. So yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
So when you have those two things together, it's much more powerful. When I was a child, you know, I was just told,
Yeah.
right, we're going to sit and meditate and you'll do 108 of these. Well, why? You know, I mean, my mum was very good at answering the whys, but, you know, it wasn't completely there for me. But I've remembered all of this, you know, in my subconscious, and it's all been coming out in the last, you know, few years. And the yoga practice actually really helps when you do hatha yoga or any type of yoga, there is a level of concentration in it, which then helps to bring you to a space where you can actually meditate much more easily. And through our class, we do a little bit of physical movement, not very much. So even if you're sitting in a chair, you can't move, you know, you haven't got that movement, that's absolutely fine. We can just do very, you know, simple movements. And those of you who can will do more, you know, so there's catering for both. So that's how I came to it. So I've always had it within my life, if you like, and I've always been interested in meditating. And throughout my sort of young adulthood, I started to dabble in it. Then as I became a yoga teacher, I understand everything beneath it. And as I became a yoga therapist, I then went on some retreats as well. I've done some retreats, and it's really helped me embed my practice. It's helped me experience a lot more deeper meditation, you know, and it's helped me experience more of the kind of energy field around me. And also, you know, questions. I can drop questions into my practice, you know, and often, maybe not right there and then, I can get answers from my deeper consciousness. And, you know, we all have it within us to do that. There isn't a single person in this world that doesn't have it within them. It's whether you, one, are willing to access, and two, have the right approach to it, you know, make it consistent in your life. It's a bit like having vitamin C tablets every day right now, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's consistency, isn't it? That's what brings results. Yeah. So it sounds amazing. I'm actually wondering if I've ever meditated correctly now. I'm starting to question. Just think, oh, I've done a lot of spiritual kind of, so for different reasons, calling in spirit, which I think is a different thing actually. And I've done a lot of journey work where you kind of, you know, you're journeying to energy and to animals and underworlds and upper worlds. But actually how you're describing things sounds like a very different kind of inner peace kind of place. And I don't think I've done that. So I think I'm going to come on Saturday. What time is it?
It's 10 o'clock, so I'll open the Zoom room at 9:45.
Okay.
So that people can sort of get used to it. And I do finish at 12. And what we do is we practice different elements that you can use as standalone. So there'll be some breath work, there'll be some mantra.
Nice.
And then sort of the meditation. And you can either do things in standalone depending on where you are in your journey, or you can do the whole thing together. So we'll do elements individually, then the whole thing. So we do it again, just so that you've got that practice element to it.
Can I do it with my audio and video turned off so I don't sound like an idiot? I think that's the whole, I don't know how to do it. What if I make a noise? What if I look like a weird, what if I fall asleep? There's all this, I think there's all these fears if people are not used to this kind of work, and I think they're a bit scared of it sometimes. They think, oh, I think some people are scared to explore inside of them, like the kind of inner workings of their mind and their soul or their body or any part of them really. So I can...
Absolutely, you can turn your video, and I do tend to get everyone to turn their audios off, especially meditation, because then other people aren't affected by the noise, which is actually quite a bonus on Zoom, isn't it? Because you wouldn't do that in a studio. You can't turn people off.
No. Or the drilling that starts outside. You're like, oh, great, thanks for that. I was in my house before we started recording this as workman. I'm like, oh, come on, just stop for, I don't know, 20 minutes. That'd be lovely, thank you. And so how much is it, and how can I book? How can we book? How can people come and get more of you?
So you could book on yugadastudios.com.
Okay, you can drop the links under here for us, maybe. That might be people won't be able to spell that, probably, yes.
So yugadastudios.com, and you just register yourself in, and then you pick go onto schedules and pick on Saturday's class. And
lovely. And how much is it? How much is that class?
It's just £10.
£10. Bargain for 2 hours. Lovely, thank you. And how should I feel after those 2 hours? What am I going to come out of it,
Oh, I think I mean, based on the last master classes I've done, you will feel at least, at the minimum, a sense of peace and a sense of togetherness. Even if it's just for a few hours afterwards.
That's a great way to end the week, though, because I very often do some work on a Saturday morning, so kind of admin-y, non-client facing stuff. So actually, to then get myself into that calm, tranquil place is could be quite useful. So, is this a one-off, or do you run them regularly?
Well, I run them every so often. I had planned on running them monthly until the lockdown happened. So if this is something that people want, then I will definitely continue to run them monthly. So that, it's a good way, if you don't want to come regularly on my Monday class or my Friday class, it's a good top up, if you like.
Yeah.
So, and a reminder, and I do say a few things that are additional in each class. Every master class is different, because the energy in the room, even in the Zoom room, will be different, because there'll be different people in the room.
Yeah, absolutely, lovely, thank you. And so, what happens after lockdown, Raj? What are your plans? Have you got anything in the pipeline? What's going to happen for you, which is imminent?
So I actually think I'm going to continue for now online, because as we saw in Leicester, we actually don't know whether lockdown is fully over, do we? Because it could happen to any individual city. So for people's consistency, and for my own, to be honest, I quite like to continue online. I'm planning on running some courses as well, so that people can, again, get a bit deeper into, sort of, my wish and aim is to kind of conscious living for myself, which is what I've aimed to practice. It's not always possible, but we it's a process, and that's what I would like to be teaching, and helping people with, using yogic information, conscious living around physical, so mind, body, heart and spirit.
Nice.
So physical, mental, psychological, emotional, and of course the spirit always.
Yeah, sounds lovely. Oh, I've got a dog just coming in behind me. Loving your energy, obviously. Bentley, sorry, in the background. Do you know what? Whenever there's a really lovely energy when I'm on my Zoom, he's around. He's a bit of like an energy hoover. I reckon he comes and gets all the lovely, calm, lovely energy. But on my laminate floor, all he can hear is tap, 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 tap. He's gone now. That was it. Just came and had a mooch round the table and off he went. That was funny. That's what he needs. He hoovered up the beautiful energy and off he goes. That's funny. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming into Natter That Matters. And of course, it does matter. You know, some of these things that I talk about each week really do matter. And I think that this whole being able to be with yourself is really, really important. And a lot of people avoid it and are a bit scared of it. So thank you I would like to thank you for your commitment to the people that come and get that from you. And yeah, I look forward to hearing about all the other things to get the deeper stuff that I think some of us probably really need. We might be a bit scared of it, but I think we definitely need it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you for
especially
being
right now.
lovely. And so if you're listening and watching this and you want to attend on Saturday, it's a tenner. I think I'm going to be there at 10 o'clock to understand more about meditation and what it can bring to your world. How beautiful. Thank you very much, Raj. And namaste, is that what we say? Is that how we say it? Namaste.
Perfect. Love it.
Thank you very much.